earthly rulership that Israel is to establish on the earth once Yahweh Shai come back.
I don't believe in a millennial reign. I believe what Daniel said in verse 18.
Con, he's talking about Daniel 7:18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever. All right, the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. All right, and so his part is, I'm thinking is, if we say that it's a millennium reign, that means that we're only gonna have it for a millennium. All right, and that's problematic. Which I don't think he understands, or he's just looking for a way around it. But we'll see. Let's let this play out, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
Verse 18, forever and ever, even forever.
So I don't believe in a millennial reign. I would disagree with a millennial reign.
Well, it starts at the millennial reign. I get what you're saying. What I mean by that is we know that Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning that follows.
And that's it.
So once Jacob receives it, it ain't going back to nobody else. We know Daniel 2:44. Exactly. Daniel 2:44. That kingdom that's going to crush all earthly kingdoms will be never be passed on to any other people, and it will be set to time of deathment. So we know it's consistently talking about the same kingdom throughout Daniel.
And that removes the idea of a millennial reign.
Right.
How does that remove the idea? I think it's just not understanding. The brother's telling you that the millennial reign, it don't mean that, Christ is not going to be reigning no more. But again, let me just let this thing play out. I'm getting anxious like brother y'all. So he's saying that takes away the idea of a millennial reign, but we have passages that says 1,000 years. This is the only reason we're saying the millennial reign. All right, we're just talking about the reign, those first 1,000 years, that reign of those first 1,000 years. All right, the reign don't mean the reign stopped, but the reign has 1,000 years. Let me let this thing play.
Because they say that to say only in this 1,000 years does Israel rule over the other nations. And then after the millennial reign, we all together in peace, joy, and happiness.
So he understands. Wait a minute now. He understands that we're not saying that the kingdom will leave the hands of Christ or leave the hands of Israel. But his problem is that people saying that after the 1,000 years, people are suggesting that we won't have slaves no more. After that, there won't be no slaves and everybody will just be everybody. And, and I kind of agree with that. I feel like we're going to, there won't be no flesh. All flesh will be eradicated after that 1,000 years, and we're going to be like the angels. So, I just don't see you having an immortal slave. You having a slave inside a place that can't receive flesh and blood. But let's continue.
I disagree with that. I think we're going to possess the kingdom forever and ever and ever, right? But not to cut.
So I don't get that. I don't get what's different than what you just said there.
Years does Israel rule over the other nations, and then after the millennial reign, we all together in peace, joy, and happiness. And I disagree with that. I think we're going to possess the kingdom forever and ever and ever, right? But not to cut you, brother. Keep going.
I agree. No, I mean
So brothers really, brothers agreeing, but it's just some play on words and, just having a pre-notion that, no, man, we're going to keep these people forever. We're going to see when he's saying possess the kingdom, he's not his kingdom. The ideology is that there are slaves there. It's not the kingdom if it's not slaves there. And that's the issue there. I think it's not necessarily because man, come on, let me share my screen. We see 1,000 years there in the text. Can't say you don't, unless you just don't believe what this thing is saying here. Wait a minute. Revelation 20. Revelation 20 now. Okay, blessed in matter of fact. And he laid hold on the dragon, verse 2, Revelation 20 and 2. And he laid hold on the dragon, that great serpent, and the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Okay? When he gets here, he's going to bound Satan for 1,000 years. All right? So when we say in the millennial reign, we're just talking about the first, these first 1,000 years. All right? During that 1,000-year reign, these things are happening. All right, and so we I don't say we, but I guess Christendom has quoted this as, or this dispensationalist has quoted this as the millennial reign, and that's something we have to understand. Dispensations, all right, we have to understand dispensations when we're doing certain things, when we're dealing with the law, when we're dealing with certain aspects of the law, that we're trying to carry these things over into different dispensations, i.e. Noah saying we can eat everything, and then we taking it into the Levitical when we have a Levitical law being established, and we saying we can't eat these certain things. But there was a dispensation where the Most High said we could. All right, the Most High told Noah and told y'all eat everything, and then we want to live set apart lives. This is all you can eat here. Okay. And so it went into another dispensation. When Christ comes, that's another dispensation when he's walking on this earth. So he's telling you, in the beginning it was, if he's telling you something that's different, all right, or if he's taking you to another dispensation, that's what we got to go with. All right, because a lot of times, a lot of the stuff he's teaching is teaching us the truth, the spirit behind the law. I want to get too deep into that. But verse 3. And he's going to cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, and he shall deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. All right. You have to just throw this away. All right. This is what we're talking about. So there is a reign where Christ is going to be, where Satan is going to be bound for 1,000 years. All right. There is a reign where Satan will be bound. Christ will be reigning inside and bound for 1,000 years, till the 1,000 years be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Now, I don't really think it's a literal 1,000 years. I wouldn't fight nobody about that. Don't really care that much, but it's a long time. Okay. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon, and the judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither the image, neither had received his mark upon his head and his hands, and they shall live and reign with Christ 1,000 years. But the rest, watch this. Now, this is separation. But the rest of the dead live not again until the 1,000 years were finished. See, these are privileged. These are, the ones that are described in Revelation 24. They are. It's not that they only live 1,000 years, but they live 1,000 years reigning under Christ, establishing ruling priesthood. All right, but the others, they don't get to come back to life till after the 1,000 years is over. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that take part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power, but they shall be priests. First resurrection, Revelation 24. They shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Okay, not just 1,000 years, but they're going to be priests and reign with him 1,000 years. Something changes after the 1,000 years. When the 1,000 years are expired, Satan will be loosed out of the prison and deceive the nations which are for the corners. Gog and Magog is gathered together to battle. All right, and they went upon the breadth of the earth, encompassed the camp of the saints about and beloved city, and fire came down out of heaven and devoured them. Okay, these folks got devoured. Once Satan was loose, deceived the nations to come up against the Christ and the saints. Fire comes down and they are devoured. Okay, and then something else happens. Judgment at the throne. Now we see another judgment. We seen those people in verse 5. After the 1,000 years, they will be they will be brought to life again. They will live again, and they will be judged. Okay, the books are open, and another book open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which are written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead, and so forth and so forth. And watch this. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. What does it mean? Death was cast into the lake of fire. Death is that last enemy. Once death is cast into the lake of fire, everyone is immortal. There is no more flesh and blood. Nobody's dying anymore. And nobody's being cast, and hell is being cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. And then watch what happens. Now the earth, see, that was the purging. And now we get this. Now we get a new heaven and a new earth. Okay? We get a new heaven. We get a better heaven and a better earth with no flesh. All right. And I heard a voice of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. Now that tabernacle of the Most High is with men. He that overcomes shall inherit these things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. You know, they've been putting precepts in his blue letter now. But a lot of our brothers say that, you know what, Dan, this is really, this is spiritual, man. But then, you know, this is really Israel coming down from the heaven. And I don't know when y'all got up there. You know what I'm saying? Because during the first resurrection, I'm just talking because I know brothers know these things. But, you know, the Most High is gathering these folks, man. The Most High, Yahushua is coming back, and he's raising up these folks, and they're going out to gather the elect. You know, I've seen a brother, I want to say it was y'all, man, that said that, you know, Christ don't return till the elect are sealed. And, you know, you got to deal with some of that stuff, man. You know, you got to understand some of that and understand, you know, to the fullness of the Gentiles, and the blindness. Israel is blind to the fullness of the Gentiles. You gotta get into some of that other stuff also, man. But we see the New Jerusalem here. We see the pearly gates and all of that, so forth, so forth. And this is where we get all of this. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that fouleth, neither whatsoever work of abomination or make of a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. All right, that's the only ones that be able to enter into this place. And says, look, and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. See, you already had the people, you already had the Israel gathered. You know, Israel already been gathered. It's been 1,000 years. Israel's already been gathered. Who are these nations? Who are these nations which are saved and shall walk in the light of it? And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. Who are these? Who's the kings? Who was those kings? You know. So we had to deal with and lay a lot of this stuff out. Matter of fact, we talk about that because, you know, it was talking about that temple. They shall reign with him and be, you know, we'll be priests. That 2 Peter, 1 Peter 2:9. We should be priests and reign with Christ. That Revelations 20 we just read. But if we look here, hold on, let me find it. It might have been in verse 1. I mean in 21. Yeah, I think it's in 21. Shalakia, y'all. Yeah, verse 21, 22. I saw no temple therein. All right, once that thing come down, say he saw no temple. Saw no temple therein, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. All right. The Most High and Yahushua are the temple thereof. And the city had no need of sun, neither of the moon to shine in it. For the glory of God did lighten it in the Lamb. See, this is, you know, this is different. How you a priest and there's no temple? How you a priest here and there's no temple in this dispensation? That's what we have to deal with, man. We have to understand all these things. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we gotta understand these things. These are some of the questions we have to ask when we say, oh, there ain't no millennial reign. And we know that Gog and Magog, man, Ezekiel 38, 39, you'll have to look into that great battle of Gog and Magog. You believe that? Well, the Revelation 20 said that's after the millennial reign. That Gog and Magog and the beast, you got to put all of that stuff in timeline. And a lot of Israel don't have that timeline down, man. Most of us don't have that timeline down. Well, what's boom, 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 boom. All right. When is the beast there? When are the two witnesses there? All right. When are they giving out these marks? You know what I'm saying? Like Jokers is expecting the mark to be here any day, and we ain't seen the beast. But you know, some people say the beast is Caesar Borgia, man. Man, come on, man. We got to. I don't know, man. You know, I was saying we gotta look at ourselves. We gotta answer so many questions, man. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 15:50, man. I'm not gonna be here long with this, but I think a lot of this stuff we just trying to hold on to because we want these certain pre-notes. We gotta be careful with that, man. You gotta be careful with the ideology of it ain't a kingdom unless they're slaves. We gotta stop that. It ain't a kingdom unless I got seven women that I can slut out. Come on now. You think women want to do that? That's what I was talking to my brother about. I want to do a class on polygamy, man. You think women want to do that? You think women want a kingdom that where they have to share a man with 10 women? You think they want to do that? Look how crazy they acting now. You think they want to do that for eternity? Come on, man. Y'all ain't even thinking. 1 Corinthians 15:50 says, now this, the mystery of resurrection. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom, neither do of corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in the moment, the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be raised. During that first resurrection. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put these things on. How are you having a kingdom where they're what part of the kingdom is that? How can that be that Revelation 22 with the new heaven and the new earth, if everybody's already done put on incorruptibility and immortality? See, watch this. He's gonna give you the timeline. Paul's gonna give you the timeline here. All right, so when the corruptible shall put on incorruption, and this mortal have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? It says hell and death shall be thrown into the lake of fire, but this doesn't happen until Revelation says, 20 says this don't happen until those first 1,000 years. And so, like the brother was telling brother y'all, like, hey man, this is just the beginning. This don't mean that this is, Christ's reign is over. No, this is just the first 1,000 years, and then things start to shift. There's dispensation, there's things that are happening. It's not, oh, that's it, Christ come, boom, it's over. No, that ain't what happens, man. That's not what happens. And you just can't say that. You just can't use Daniel 7. Daniel 7:18 says forever and ever. So when Christ comes, boom, we slay these folks and we got them and they having kids. It's saying people just gonna continue to have kids and we gonna be here on earth and come on, man. And we gonna be sitting in the darn temple sacrificing for these folks for the rest of for eternity. We gonna be doing sacrifices for people. We gonna be in the temple doing sacrifices for heathens and that are handmaids and servants. And then how you a priest and you at home all day? Like, come on now. Y'all ain't even thinking. How you a priest and you at home with 10 women and you chilling, kicking a bobo, man? Come on now. Somebody got to get that blood up out of that temple, man. Somebody got to sacrifice these things. Somebody got to get them fires started. Somebody got to be in that temple doing these things, man. All right, and you can't have those Gentiles. You think you gonna have them Gentiles in there doing it? Come on, we got to make all of this make sense. We got to put these pieces in the right places, right? And I've been stressing this over and over and over. All right, verse 56, it says, the sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. All right, oh, death, where's thy sting? All right, the sting of death is sin. There won't be no more sin. There won't be no more sin. That's why death gone. Death is cast into the lake. You got on immortality. You got on incorruption. But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory throughout the Lord, the Yahushua. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain at the Lord. It's not in vain, man. And so we see that too, man. You know, he's kind of mixing a little bit, but you know, I have reasons for that. But I'm not gonna get into it. On, you know, he's just dealing with the audience. So, you know, he's not talking about a certain, like I said, I ain't gonna get into it. Revelations 11 and 5. We'll just look at some of these things, man. In 11:15. The seventh trumpet, Christ's reign foreseen. All right, we see the commencement here. And the seventh angel sounded, and there was a great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of the world, of this world, are become the kingdoms of our Lord. There's a process happening, man. There's a process happening where the Most High gotta, you know, not the Most High, but Yahushua has to take these kingdoms, man. All right, he gonna have to take these kingdoms and then deliver them up to the Father. And this is what's gonna happen during those first 1,000 years, or whatever it is. Like I said, I don't need the 1,000 years to be literal. It's just a long time. All right, during that first part of Christ's reign, this is what's happening. Okay, so it's not just a boom, boom, and that's it, man. That's not how it works. It's not how it works, and there's a plethora of precepts to say that. You know what I'm saying? To justify, you know, one thinking that way. And the brother was agreeing with you and saying it, but you know, you kind of dismissed the brother a little bit. But this second trumpet, this is when he's coming, man. All right. Temple of God was open in heaven. Okay. And since that first temple, man, most I ain't been dwelling with that stuff. That's what Ezekiel started with, man. He gone. He's gone. All right, so them ordinations, they ain't going up, man. That stuff ain't going up. But during that millennial reign, you know, them things will be going up. But afterwards, you ain't gonna, you know, once that new heaven, new earth come, you're not gonna need those things, man. All right, and the nations were angry, all right, because that wrath was coming upon them. Most, you know, Yahweh was coming back. That wrath coming upon these folks. So, man, you know, let me look at Matthew 25, Matthew 24, and we'll look at 25, and then we'll definitely close it on now. That's just some things that we'll have to discuss when we saying that it's, you know, again, man, people not saying that the millennial reign just has to be it's saying that, you know, Christ's gonna reign for 1,000,000 years and that's gonna be it. No. He's gonna still be reigning, but something else happens, man. Another judgment happens. Okay, those who resurrected the first resurrection, and then there's another judgment after that. 24:30. Okay, and then shall appear tribulations, and then shall appear the signs of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. That's what we're reading in Revelations 11 and 5, 11:15. I don't know why I keep saying 5. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Why they having to gather them? See, a lot of us think that's our job. A lot of us think that's our job, man. We traveling all over the world, and we trying to seal these folks. But evidently, you're not gonna have them sealed. Evidently, you're not gonna get them if he shall send his angels with a great sound and a trumpet, and they gonna gather them together. No, brothers saying, you know, once we gather them, we got it. That come on, man. But anyway, y'all, 35, 25, 30. Oh Lord, look what I done did. Let me see. What I said, Matthew 25. Matthew 25 and Matthew 25, 30. No, they ain't give me what I need. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on one second. We gonna get there. Here we go. And the Son of Man, 31. And when the Son of Man comes in his glory and the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations. And he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then shall the king say unto them on the right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For when I was hungry, you met me with meat, and when I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. You got to be careful how you treat those strangers. Would you take him in? When I was a stranger, would you take him in? That's also connected to that Leviticus 25:35. I think, treat your brother, if your brother is fallen, treat him as though. I know it says even though, or yea though. I think it says yea though, but it's really better translated as though he is a stranger. Because there's laws for taking in and how you treat strangers. Just put stranger in your blue letter. I was thirsty and gave them, and I was a stranger, and you took me in. You gotta watch how you treat those strangers, bro. When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked or clothes, or when shall we seek when saw we thee sick or in prison? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. All right, if you done it to the least of these, my brethren, you have done it unto them. Then shall he say unto them on the left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. And we seen that also. Like this is that second resurrection. Where that judgment happened. All right, this is that second judgment after that millennial reign. It's a judgment where you're thrown, where death and hell is thrown into, and those that didn't believe, man. Those that didn't believe. And so you gotta be careful with that thing, man. And these should go away into everlasting punishment for those that believe. Hey, man, ain't no hell, ain't no burning forever, man. Man, please, man, don't play with that. All right, and these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into life eternal. Okay, but the righteous into life eternal. Okay, and again, this happens when them books are open, and either you're gonna be cast into that lake or granted eternal life. Man, I pray this thing was edifying to the body, man. Let me stop sharing my screen here, and I hope we got some, but like I say, man, I'm just laying certain things out so we can take a look at these things and we got to make all these things make sense. We can't just say, again, that we don't want to deal with a millennial reign aspect because we see that the kingdom says forever and forever. And then somebody comes back and tell you, well, I'm not saying that the millennial reign means that Christ only reigns 1,000 years. That we're saying, then we have to go back and say, hey, okay, well, what's happening during those millennial years? What, like, for you to say you don't believe in the millennial reign means, you need to explain what happens when Christ comes. That's what we need to understand. We need that broke down. And then we need to look at the text and say, well, when did this happen? And again, I say that all the time, and we got to put those pieces where they go. We got to make all of those things make sense. We got to make sense of, no flesh and blood entering, but y'all killing animals in the temple. Like, how can those be in the same dispensations? How can it be in the same dispensations where you got slaves and they got on incorruptible bodies? How is that in the same dispensation where you again sacrificing animals in the lamb gonna lay with the darn, and babies gonna lay with serpents, and the lamb gonna lay and eat the lamb gonna eat grass with the lion? Like, how is that the same dispensation? with you sacrificing in the temple, and Joker's in there eating lamb legs and and prime rib. Like how is that the same dispensation? We have to put all of those things together, man. We have to put those things in those right places, because they can't be at the same place at the same time. All right, they can't be. You can't have people being vegetarians and people sacrificing animals at the same time. You can't have animals not killing each other and priests killing each other and priests killing the animals. Come on now. You can't have people dying again where it's flesh. You can't have people sinning. Why are you even bringing sacrifices? You can't have people sinning. You can't have people. You can't be in a place where there is no temple and you doing sacrifice. We got to put that. We got to make that make sense. All right, we got to put those in the same dispensation. So again, y'all be blessed, man. Shalom. Y'all go over these things, man. Y'all hit the comments. Tell me what y'all think, man. How do we reconcile these things? How do we make these things all harmonize?